All right, it's the day after our first list race of the year. It's a long ways from home, so we stayed pretty close out here. We got some work to do to the car today. Without going into too much detail, we had a little bit of trouble last night, so we've got some stuff to do today. Or actually, we fixed it last night, come to find out, but Shawns gonna go over the car today and check everything out.
You're talking about trouble.
Yeah.
Trouble and us do not go together.
Yeah,
we didn't have no trouble.
We'll switch this thing around here and let Shawn tell you what we're gonna do today. So yeah, I mean, you know, not necessarily trouble, just some bumps in the road, right?
There's always bumps in the road for us, especially whenever you get out a new car. Well, not a new car, an old car that you took off the list because you felt like it wasn't competitive with all the others.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this car didn't get any better sitting, and the other cars didn't get any slower, you know, so it is what it is. We still did okay last night, but
it wasn't anything spectacular. We had a little bit of trouble, but it ended up being a decent night.
Yes. So, you know, yeah. So one problem that we clearly have, and I wouldn't necessarily worry about this stuff, and I haven't worried about it because we've been racing this thing at the track, is the throttle.
You know, I never thought about this. I can see where that would be a little bit of a problem for you.
It's an issue for me because when you're out here on these roads like this, man, you got to pedal the car. That's part of racing. Part of my racing, anyway.
So the problem is when we put this new big throttle body on, we had to put a really stiff return spring on it, but that's not really the biggest problem.
No, the return spring has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just a real short throw throttle, and so basically, man, it's a light switch. It's this long, and it's either on or off. You can't finesse it at all, and so whenever I pedal the car, the TPS goes from 100% to 0%, and then whenever I get back on the throttle, man, it's 100% again. So
whereas before I could, you know, ease into it or out of it, or
50%, 30%, whatever. There's none of that anymore with this deal. It's all or none. Even pulling it up to the line, even pulling it in the trailer, it's just right all the time. So that's a problem because I like to pedal cars. And whenever I pedal them, if you just come off, if you're 100% and you feel like you need to pedal it, your car's already in trouble, and then you dump completely out of it and it goes from 100% to 0%, it upsets the chassis. And then whenever you pedal it and give it throttle again, you're back at 100, and then it just upsets the chassis more. So we pedaled the car a couple of times last night, and it's not happy pedaling. So we've got to try to figure something out with that. Other than that, we're just running the valves. We did have the fuel cell out here. I know we've been talking a whole lot about the car not shaking and stuff at the track, and it didn't shake at the track. Well, you get it out here on the street and it shook last night. So at some point we broke the fuel cell, and we're going to have to put that thing, on isolators. So, you know, right now it's hard mounted, and I thought about that, but at the time we were in a hurry. You know, we had to do what we had to do at the time. So at some point we're gonna have to put a round ring around this deal and some rubber in the middle to make it floating. Because right now, the more we shake this car, the more we're gonna tear that thing up. So there's fuel running out everywhere. So we siliconed it up, patched it up, put a couple tampons on it, you know, and raced it. So we're gonna run the valves, and then we're gonna look at the throttle. I honestly don't think that there's anything that we can do about the throttle right now. When you're turning the throttle like this, and you're right here at the furthest point, this right here is how much throw you have. We need this down here to where it turns this slower. It's all leverage, so we're gonna have to give it more leverage. Is that what it is? More leverage, longer. We need a longer pedal. You know, I'd really like one where I can move the pedal 3 inches and it'll go 20% on the throttle. That's what I need. But unfortunately right now, there's nothing that we can do about that. So like it's kind of dangerous too. Not only does it affect the way that I drive, because my foot moves a lot, but right now it's just 100% or 0%. So even loading it in the trailer, it gets dangerous doing that.
Yeah.
So pulling up to the starting line, it's just I have to turn around. Whenever we're out street racing, you have to turn these things around in the street. So luckily this car sets a little bit higher than the new car. I could pull up to the curb. This spoiler will probably go over the top of a curb. The other car definitely won't. So this one's easier to turn around, but then you gotta think. You pull up and then you back up, and you can't bang your wheelie bars on the back, because the wheelie bars are 100% gonna hit that curb.
Yep.
And then you gotta turn around in the road. So as you're trying to give it a little bit of throttle, you're try and turn this thing around in the road. So not only on the pass does it get tough to pedal the car, but everything after the pass and everything before the pass sucks too. So we'll do whatever we can, but I think that the end result here is gonna have to be longer on the throttle. I mean, we're on the top. We're as far out.
We can use these two bolt holes, make a new plate with a longer arm down.
That's what we're gonna have to do. Hey, because this is the only way I know to explain it. If we got a pin right here and we push this, we need the pin down here so that when we push that, it takes longer. This one right here is still moving the same. It's only gonna crack the throttle a little bit. You know what I mean? As of right now, the best way I've heard anybody put it was Ryan, and Ryan said it's a light switch. It's on or off. And that's the way last night, whenever I pedaled this car, 100% to 0%, back to 100%. I can't finesse the car at all. So. Somebody in the group thinks that. So it doesn't allow you to finesse the throttle at all. So we're gonna pull the valves. We're gonna the valve covers. We're gonna run the valves. We're gonna check that. We're gonna check the oil, make sure everything is good. So car sounds great. Everything's good with that. I wasn't 100% happy with the pass last night, but we got the win. So that's, in the scheme of things, that's what matters. You know, nothing I do in this car is ever pretty. Except wheelies. Except wheelies. Wheelies are pretty.
It's kind of bittersweet sometimes. You win the race, but don't like how you do it. So
Take care, man. It's nice to meet you.
See you,